We're talking about the Detroit Lions roster from what it was last year and compared to this year. We're talking about the coaching, the players, everything that changes, and what I think the Lions are doing and why I think they're going to be better this year. A lot of changes to the starting lineup, a lot of changes to the coaching staff, and hopefully positive changes to the Lions 2024 NFL season. Let's get this thing started. Before we get started, I want you guys to rate the Detroit Lions roster in Madden style, 1 through 100 in the comment section. Go in this bad boy and let me know your thoughts. I cannot wait to see what you guys are thinking on this thing. So let's first off talk about the players that are in and compared to the players that are out. This is what we did so far in free agency as the NFL draft. We brought in Kevin Zeitler, Christian Mahogany, Giovanni Manu, Cyan Vaki, Amik Robertson, Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, CJ Moore, and Mekhi Wingo. The players whom left Detroit: Tracy Walker, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Chase Lucas, Jerry Jacobs, Cam Sutton, Will Harris, Jonah Aquara, Benito Jones, Anthony Pittman, Zach Ertz, Josh Reynolds, and Jonah Jackson. Clearly a lot of changes that were made here, and in my opinion, when you go through it, it's a lot of positive changes in the correct direction. I mean, when you have players replacing folks like Tracy Walker didn't do anything. Chase Lucas was a backup. Jerry Jacobs was bad. Cam Sutton was bad. Will Harris is terrible. Aquara didn't do anything. Benito Jones. Anthony Pittman was a backup. Zach Ertz was with the team for like a game. Josh Reynolds and Jonah Jackson were the two players, in my opinion, that are probably the most difficult players to change out. But we're going to get into it right now for you folks. And question for you: will Terrion Arnold start week 1? Why for yes and for no? Give me your thoughts in the comments below. Again, let's go ahead and talk about the changes that were made and then the draft. Because, look, you look at the draft, and I think they did a really good job here. Terrion Arnold, upgrade. Ennis Rakestraw, upgrade. Giovanni Manu, not much of an upgrade right now, but this is more of a player whom we're going to watch for years down the road. Same with Mekhi Wingo. And Christian Mahogany, I think, could start this year. Literally, if we didn't have a Kevin Zeitler, Mahogany is the type of player I think start. So he's going to be starting, good chance, next year. Cyan Vaki is a player who is doing really good in OTAs and minicamp, and it's going to have a big-time factor. So when you look at these rookies, we look at players who's going to make a difference. Terrion Arnold, in my opinion, is a starter week 1. Upgrade. Ennis Rakestraw, a developmental player. He's going to have some playing time, so not much of a move there. Cyan Vaki is going to have some playing time, and it's going to be a difference maker, and that's an upgrade. Christian Mahogany is a really good guard. It's just that he's behind some of the other good guards, Zeitler. So they had a really good draft class, in my opinion. And if you go through all of the roster, you go ahead and you look at the wide receivers here. Not much change from last year except for Josh Reynolds, and that's actually a big change. So when we're looking at some of these positional groups, it's like, okay, that you could say would be a downgrade, right? Like, we don't really know what he's going to bring. Somewhat of a downgrade for the wide receiver position, but let's keep it 100. If that is what you're doing as a downgrade, that is pretty good because the Detroit Lions have a really good roster. So with all of the development, I think the biggest loss and one that could have effect is the Josh Reynolds. That's really about it. In my opinion, I think I went in a negative direction. And again, you look at the players the new Detroit Lions, and you look at the old Detroit Lions, you can see right now, in my opinion, this is what it's looking like. Okay? You got Kevin Zeitler, who we signed in free agency. I actually think it's an upgrade over Jonah Jackson, even though Jonah Jackson was probably the biggest free agent we lost. For this year, I think he is better. Not saying for the long term, but for this year. So we moved up with this position. Marcus Davenport, I have above a Romeo Aquara, but you can kind of put this as somewhat of an even, right? They're two players that we don't know much about, so we're going to wait there. Even though I do have it a little bit of an upgrade, it's not a significant upgrade. DJ Reader, significant upgrade over Isaiah Buggs or Benito Jones, who was the Lions on the interior. He's going to help stop that run that was already massive. So this is a huge upgrade here compared to what we have. Just a massive. I mean, you're getting one of the best defensive linemen who stops the run in all of football, and that is a huge, huge, huge upgrade. It really is. It's significant. And I think that the Lions did good on this one. It didn't even cost that much money. So far, 3 upgrades at starting positions. And we had a team that went to the NFC Championship last year. So this roster is really good. And again, I'm going to ask you this question here. Grade the Detroit Lions roster in Madden style. 1 being terrible, 100 is the players are really good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right now. Continue on here. Carlton Davis, who we traded for, significant upgrade over Cam Sutton. Huge. This is the biggest upgrade of this whole team is the cornerback position. Cam Sutton started decent, then he fell off a cliff. He looked horrible. He was terrible. Carlton Davis for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just dealing with a little bit of injury issues, but he was a solid player for the Buccaneers, and all we have seen so far in OTAs and minicamp is this guy is doing really good. So, massive upgrade over Cam Sutton. Terrion Arnold, our draft pick. Huge, significant, gigantic boulder upgrade over undrafted Jerry Jacobs, who I did like, but Arnold is night and day better. You have 5 new starters just right here on both offense and defense. And you say that's not big. That's big. We're talking about 11 players playing on offense and defense as starters, and you got 5 new ones, and that's just right now, okay? There absolutely could be some new starters of players that are on the team. Jack Campbell may jump over Derek Barnes. That is a difference for starting, at least in a starting role, right? Argud, who's done really good in OTAs and minicamp, he's shown a lot of pressure. Maybe he's a good backup right there. So the Lions have done a good job this offseason upgrading the roster, both offense, defense, and special teams, making this one of the best rosters in football. So let's go ahead and talk about no longer Detroit Lions coaches. So how does the team look? Now we removed some coaches. Senior offensive assistant Jim Hostler, no longer with the team. Quality control, Wayne Blair, no longer with the team. John Scott, defensive line. This is the big one here. So defensive line coach gone. It was one of the weaknesses of the Detroit Lions last year was defensive line. Coach Dre Bly, former Detroit Lions player, no longer with the team. They got a new DB's coach. DB coach, or cornerback coach, DB coach Brian Duker gone as well, hired by the Dolphins. Lions had problems in the secondary. They fixed that. And John Fox, senior defensive assistant, no longer with the team. The defense was a lot of problems. You see, one offensive and the rest are defensive coaches. We look at the new Detroit Lions. It's a significant upgrade, if you ask me. Townsend, DB's coach, upgrade over Dre Bly and Brian Duker. Terrell Williams, the biggest bring here of the defensive line coach. He is one of the best in the NFL. He's going to upgrade that position. Defensive assistant Jim O'Neill and Dre Thompson as defensive quality control. So as you can see here, there has been a big-time upgrade over the Detroit Lions coaching staff. And when you're trying to take that next step, you have to upgrade. So we've got new players who are an upgrade, generally speaking, over the older players. And you got coaches who, generally speaking, are upgraded over the coaches whom we did release in 2023 after this 2023 season. So you can see it is better. So I got a question for you. Rank the Detroit Lions coaching staff compared to the rest of the NFL. 1, if you think they're the best coaching in football. 32, if you think they are booty cheeks. Blow up the comment section with that answer. Again, we're going to go over this list here. Tracy Walker did nothing for the Lions, no longer here. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he was injured throughout the season, even though I liked the play that he did do, that he was on the field, but he's not here. Chase Lucas was butt cheeks. Jerry Jacobs was butt cheeks. Cam Sutton, cheeks. Will Harris, cheeks. Julian Okwara, cheeks. Benito Jones was not too bad as a developmental guy. Anthony Pitt was just a backup. A lot of players that we got rid of, besides Josh Reynolds, are gone. And if you look at the players that are in, they're all an upgrade except for Josh Reynolds. Every single one of these players is an upgrade. And it just shows you how well this team it really, really knows how to develop talent and develop how to get better. So when I look at the 2023 Detroit Lions, a hell of a good team, right? They win the NFC Championship. They are better this year. They're better talent-wise. They're better coaching-wise. And you're going to see this on the field. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have a better record. The schedule is tougher, and the teams in the NFC North are tougher. But the Lions did everything they could from a roster standpoint and a leadership standpoint for coaching to make this team much improved. In the upcoming videos, we're dropping videos every single day. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you do that, it's all there for you. Get your Lions content that you fiend for. Hit that notification bell. I would love to see at least 20% of my audience have the notification bell turned on. Do that. With that said, folks, adios.